Hey guys, welcome back. Got a new video for you, and this time I'm going to be doing something a little different. It's going to be music related as always, but decided I'm going to be sharing our little review on the new book that has arrived in many of our guys' hands lately. I saw this book like literally almost every day by at least two different people, it seemed like, and I was kind of debating whether or not to get this, because it's just looking at the cover, and I'll show it to you guys since you already see the title on the screen. Psychedelia, 101 iconic underground rock albums from 1966 to 1970. And this is by Richard Morton Jack. I think he's also done a few other books in the past. But to be honest, guys, this is actually the first book I've ever purchased on psychedelia itself. I haven't picked up the Galactic Ramble before, or Acid Archives, or Endless Trip. I've never picked up those books before, so I saw this was selling pretty well, so I just figured I'd pick it up. And I'm just going to give my thoughts on it, see if you guys own it or not. So I think this released maybe last month of this year so far. And of course, as you can see, just looking at the cover, it's an eye catcher, definitely. I'll give it a little shot of the back here just so you guys can see what albums it talks about here. You can pause it if you'd like to read. Those are all the LPs mentioned in this book. So Richard is no stranger when it comes to psychedelic music. Obviously, he's done his homework, so it kind of just gives you a little bit of the introduction, talking about how psychedelic music formed, and it kind of goes by Patrick Lumberg's timeline. He kind of did it his own way, talking about the introduction of psychedelic music, how it starts way back in the 1950s, with like recordings of people on drugs and LSD, just all kinds of stuff. It's pretty interesting. It's kind of a very, very nice reference book, something to look at if you're just getting into the psychedelic scene. And yeah, so the book starts off with Bob Dylan. And I gotta be honest, guys, I'm not really a huge Bob Dylan fan, never got into him as heavily as other people, but I'm not like disrespecting him. Obviously people like him if he's in this book, but it also goes a little brief history on LSD, talking about it, all the different experiences people had, and also talks about like psychedelic films during the era. And this one kind of really stood out to me. It even talks about the Free Spirits, which I thought was kind of cool. But yeah, most of these albums are going to be very familiar to you for the most part, if you're a psych kid like I am. It's certainly, like I said online, it's certainly no Acid Archives. Don't be surprised if you're expecting like really adventurous psych albums you've never heard of before. This is a lot of familiar territory. So I'll just do like maybe a flip through the book, see what we got here, just for examples if you guys are interested in picking up the book. So there's Chocolate Watch Man. So as you can see, there's a few iconic covers there. I'm trying to get it. Auto Salvage. Oh, and out of the 101 albums, I actually own only 38, if you can believe that. I only own 38 of those albums. So, United States of America, Small Faces. Yeah, this has got the goods. SRC. I'm really happy they talked about Group 1850 on this one. Gandalf. Yeah, this is a good book. Churchill's. But everyone does have their own lists as to what are iconic underground albums. But for me, I would certainly, I think he missed out on a few, and I think if it was me writing this, I would replace some albums. Like for the Bob Dylan one, I'd probably put in Neighborhood Children. It doesn't even mention that album. which kind of surprised me. Neighborhood Children. Other ones I wish I would have seen on here were like Plastic Cloud, The Freeborn with Peak Impressions. There's a few other ones that came to mind, but yeah, they missed out on a few, I think. But nonetheless, it's still a nice, nice book to look at. Telling you a little bit about the history, and like a lot of people have explained it as, it's kind of like a coffee table book, Electric Prunes. Even though it only mentions like one album by each artist, it does go in depth in like their background. So like 13th Floor Elevators, it talks about Easter Everywhere only, but it does talk about their debut while it gives the background on the group in the intro. So I do highly recommend this book, though. It kind of blew me away. I was kind of surprised how much I liked it, more than I thought I would. But it also mentions like, maybe not top 10, but some really iconic UK and also US 45 singles at the time. Some really crazy stuff. Let's see if I can find that in here. Blossom Toes, both Kaleidoscope bands. It doesn't mention the Mexican Kaleidoscope in this book. Here it is. It talks about some 45s here from the US. The Baroques, Third Bardo. So, there's a few other pictures. Forest of Black is a crazy single. Damon. So yeah, so there's a little insight as to what you can expect from this book. I think it only costed me like maybe 20 bucks plus shipping. I got this from the Barnes & Noble store, and even though it says like 28 bucks on the back here for US, I still highly recommend this book. Like I said, it's not a book that's gonna blow you away immediately, but definitely some familiar territory and nice, interesting backstories I didn't know about some of these bands. And some nice surprises too. Traffic Sound is mentioned on here. The Insect Trust, which was another surprise. So here's the list of bands once again. It all mentions the David, Another Day, Another Lifetime. It's kind of a surprise to me. So the excuse me, the Ill Wind Flashes on here is mentioned in here. So really nice book. Nice textured cover, and so that's basically my 10 cents on the book. So I hope you guys pick it up. Maybe you guys could share it off, give your thoughts on it. So till next time, guys, we'll see you soon.